Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk to you about an idea I had, and this idea I'm calling the luxury trap for credit cards. And in this video, we're going to talk about it basically in two parts. In the first part, we're going to talk about what really is the three different strategies that people take when using their credit cards. And then the second part, I'll do an example with numbers to kind of illustrate what people are spending or what they're losing and they don't even realize it. This year I've been on kind of a rampage and I've gotten 12 new credit cards in the last 12 months. For those of you looking at these are the 12. Don't worry, I'm active duty military, so I'm not paying annual fees. But it's kind of been my mission this year, just in general, to understand finance and investing better. So I was watching these YouTubers who, make credit card videos, and just kind of the economics and the ecosystem and the psychology of it all, to me, is just very interesting. And before we go any further, if you have a balance on any of your current credit cards, I do not recommend you get any additional credit cards. You don't have to do any complicated math to know that if you're carrying over a balance and paying interest, your cash back or your rewards and points and miles are irrelevant. The bank is making money off of you and you're losing money. If this is your current situation, it's not a big deal. Make a budget, reduce your spending, increase your income, pay off your debts, and then start accumulating more credit cards and use them wisely. Second, is a disclaimer, I'm making this video for the purpose of educating people. I want people to better understand how they use their cards. But in the end, it's people's money. People can spend their money however they see fit. So I'm not judging people who maybe choose one route or the other. I just want people to line up their personal goals with how they use their credit cards. What gave me the idea for this video was basically a debate going on between these different credit card gurus, between should you be paying an annual fee or should you not be paying an annual fee for credit cards. And Dave Hansen, who has really good production value, is on the side of no annual fee for credit cards, just go for cash back. And I appreciate his perspective, and I think that he's missing a component. I think there's an argument to be made that he hasn't made yet. So when people like Graham Stephan or Credit Shivu or Ask Sebi, respond, I basically want them to consider the concept of the luxury trap. And I'm going to talk about this in this video today, where basically every time you redeem points or miles for luxury hotels or luxury business class flights, there is an opportunity cost. And you should be making a conscious decision to forego that opportunity cost when you, go on these aspirational dream vacations. So the question is, are you better off with a no annual fee cashback category card, or are you better off paying a high annual fee for one of these premier credit cards that earns you points and miles? So if we just take a second and practice some critical thinking skills, you should really be asking, what do the banks who make these credit cards want us to be doing? That is what really interests me. So these banks, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citi, Wells Fargo, here's American Express down here, would they rather their customers be signing up for no annual fee cashback cards or high annual fee cards that earn points and miles? If you're going to be signing the paperwork and doing business with these people, you should really understand how are they making money off of you. My bottom line analysis is that there are three routes that you can take when using your credit cards. There is the cash route, just take the cash back, give me as much back as I possibly can with category spend. There is then redeeming points and miles for must travel. These are trips you were going to do anyways. I call this going to grandma's house. And then your dream vacations, your aspirational trips, the place that you were always wanting to go and seeing since you were a child. We're going to start with the option that's easiest to understand, and that is just take the cash. If you were to sign up for the Citi Double Cash card or the American Express Blue Business Cash card, you would be getting 2% cash back on all eligible purchases up to $50,000 per year. For the Double Cash, it's actually unlimited. But let's say that you were really tricky and you found a way to funnel all of your expenses, your monthly bills, your tuition costs, your rent, everything you can think of, and it totaled $50,000. And you're keeping it simple, so you only want to use one card, and you chose, for example, the Blue Business Cash card. 2% of $50,000 is $1,000 cash back. So for the cost to you of no annual fee, assuming you're paying your bill at the end of every month, you will get about $1,000 cash back. And I cannot emphasize this enough when using credit cards. Credit cards don't make you rich. They don't, they're not an engine for income. They basically help you save between 2 and 10% on costs. But not spending money in the first place is always the best way to save money. If you don't spend $100, congrats, you just saved $100. Now, getting that 2% cash back on $50,000 in spend, it'll help you, that extra $1,000, reduce debt if you have any current debt, or it'll help you save and invest. If your goal is to max out your IRA or your 401k, getting cashback cards so you have more money in your pocket is the best option. The next option you have for using your credit cards is redeeming points and miles for must travel. These are trips that 100% you were going to take anyways. Whether using cash or a debit card, you were definitely going to make these purchases. Maybe it's your best friend's wedding and you need to get flights and a hotel to be in the wedding party, or every year, you got to go home for the holidays to be with family, or maybe every year, your family is going to go to Disneyland or Disney World for a family vacation, and that's definitely something you were going to pay money for anyways. Then this is a really good option. However, you can mess it up. If you start paying high annual fees for cards like the American Express Gold Card, this has a $250 annual fee. If you don't use the annual credits to offset the cost, or if you don't use this card in the category spends that operate best for it, then you might not be getting your value back. You might have been better off with a 2% or 5% no annual fee cashback card. But if done correctly, then this is your best option. This was money you were going to spend on hotel and airfare no matter what. So, in a way, it does help you shift your costs so that you can further pay down debt, whether it's student loan or car loans. Or it'll help you save money by shifting costs so that you can max out your IRA, max out your 401k, save up for a home mortgage, whatever. The third option is where the psychology of credit cards gets interesting, because a lot of people store up their rewards or their points or their miles to take dream vacations, the aspirational trips. And you've got to be careful. You have to think, if this is not something that I would pay cash for, use a debit card for, then I'm not sure you would want to be using your points for it if you have debt. If your goal is to be saving money, investing money for your future, starting a business, getting a home mortgage, whatever you need to do where you need more money in your bank account. The other cons to this route, similar to the last one, is once you start accumulating credit cards with high annual fees, you could screw it up. If you don't offset it with the credits, if you don't use it for the right category spends, if you don't redeem your points well, then you might have actually have been just better with the cashback no annual fee option. Additionally, you're earning points with transfer partners that you might never actually use. If you Google it, something like 90% of all membership reward points have never been redeemed. And I've been, trying to manage this for the last year, but I've had to create accounts with Hyatt, IHG, Hilton, Marriott Bonvoy, Delta, American Airlines, United, Korean Air, and I'm accumulating points in these separate currencies that are split up. I personally have almost 400,000 Hilton Honors points that has a cash out value of roughly $2,000. That's $2,000 just sitting there, not earning anything. I don't have it invested. And eventually I will use it, or I don't know, definitely I will use it. But there's a lot of people who earn reward points for different partners and they never redeem it. They forget about it, they lose track of it. The banks, airlines, and hotels, they know this. They know that they make positive return off of people never redeeming their points. So let's go back to our original question of which would banks rather you be opening? No annual fee cashback credit cards or high annual fee point and mile earning credit cards? And I'm convinced, these are the ones they advertise. These are the ones that they make commercials for and that they have headline banners on their websites, pop-ups, emails, mailers. They wouldn't be doing this unless they were getting positive expected value from you. Another way to think of this is what costs a bank or an airline or a hotel more money, giving you $100 worth of physical money that you can then deposit in your savings account or your brokerage accounts, or giving you $400 worth of flights and hotels. I don't know what this exact ratio is, but I'm sure that the banks know. And I'm convinced that banks, hotels, and airlines would rather give you $400 worth of retail cost for flights and hotels than $100 of physical cash. Because the true cost of you staying in that hotel or flying on that seat is not $400. If a hotel room or a flight seat goes empty, then they made nothing. They made $0. So they would rather have you redeem points and stick you in there in order to max out their capacity in order to lower their operation cost. Now let's think about that $50,000 you potentially spent by funneling your costs through credit cards. If you were to go the cashback route, maybe you earned around $1,000 in cash that can go in your checking account, brokerage account, whatever. The second option is you knew that you were going to travel anyways. These were expected trips. You're going to do them no matter what. If you use credit cards to then shift the costs, then your net saving to your checking account or brokerage account potentially over $2,000. However, when you take dream vacations, to go to the Maldives or Thailand or Bora Bora, if you're going somewhere that you never would have paid for with cash or a debit card, then you are net saving $0. If your short-term goals are to save money and invest, using your points on these dream vacations or these luxury experiences nets you $0. Now, of course, you put value on these trips, these aspirational, once-in-a-lifetime vacations to the most interesting places in the world. For you, they have value, the precious memories, with your wife or your family or whoever. But as far as a dollar amount, as far as what are you saving and investing, it's $0. I know this video is going long, but I want to do a quick numbers example of what this luxury trap is and how bad it can be for people. We're on Delta's website. Let's pretend we're redeeming AmEx points or Delta Sky Miles. For a round-trip ticket from Denver to Tokyo in April, you can fly Delta One, their high-end business class, for 170,000 points plus $289. The retail cost of this flight, if you were to book it in cash, would be $10,469. We'll go ahead and subtract the fees and say the cost of the flight is actually $10,180. Divide that by 170,000 Amex or Sky Miles points, and that gives you a redemption rate of almost 6 cents per point. I see YouTubers doing this all the time, getting 4, 5, or 6 cents per point when redeeming for these luxury business class flights. But it's a luxury trap. Because what was the cash out value of that flight? If you were redeeming through Amex's statement credit, 170,000 points is $1,020. If you have the Charles Schwab Platinum card and you were to cash out those points to your brokerage account, that'd be $2,125. If you were to redeem those points at 2 cents a point with partners for must-spend travel you were going to pay cash for anyways, then it has a value of $3,400. If you were not willing to spend $3,400 for this business class flight experience, then you shouldn't have done it. You gave up the cash. You had the cash equivalent, but then you chose to spend that cash that could have been in your bank account on this luxury flight. By just shifting my search around by a couple days, I can find this exact same flight in economy for 30,000 points. So would you rather have one trip business class or 5 trips round trip from Denver to Tokyo using only 30,000 of your points? And the question I ask people when they tell me they want to book business class flights is it worth it? For $2,000 to $3,000 cash out of pocket because of the opportunity cost of not cashing out your points. What are you getting for that $2,000 or $3,000? I just don't get it. To which they reply, well, you get to lay down and they serve you champagne, you have a dedicated bathroom, they give you a hot towel. To which I reply, hey, for the $2,000 or $3,000 you're paying beyond the cost of the economy flight for those services, just come over to my place. I'll let you lay down. I'll serve you champagne. I'll give you a hot towel. I mean, there's nothing that they can do for you for that flight for a couple hours to make it worth $2,000 or $3,000 worth of cash. Okay guys, that concludes my video. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up so the algorithm knows it's good and it will recommend it to other people. In addition, if you have any comments or questions about my ideas, then please leave me one down below. I love hearing from you. And if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing. I'm going to post a couple more videos like this, giving my kind of interpretations and philosophy of credit cards. To me, it's just very fun and interesting. Till the next video, take care.